के जहेज का bed.
And you made a podcast.
We cleared it all
Cleared
out.
out.
But we kept some important things like that. That is the most historic istri ki table in the history of combat sports. Because we recently placed the WRG championship tournament and filmed a whole promo. It was great. और इस तरह की एक सिलाई की भी table थी, which we combined with my old study desk, and that was the initial table. Then we upgraded to this bad boy.
Very
वरना
nice.
पहले वो था. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit we found in here that's actually useful.
Oh yeah, we've started?
Yeah, I'm recording now. So you
Oh, okay.
Oh,
we've
great.
started.
Nice.
Clapping नहीं करना.
We've never.
can just do a clap.
Okay. Sikander Vincent Khan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Well, I'm here. Yeah, thank you for having me.
We've never done an intro like that, but I like that. Umer Fasie is producer director for a reason. After all,
So
of this
yeah, so
podcast.
I looked and I saw that it was like recording. So I was like, we're already in conversation. That's a pretty
cool.
good way to start.
Yeah, it's perfect. Thank you for taking out the time, of course, coming here all the way and everything.
Yes.
How are you feeling, first and foremost? Most important question.
I'm feeling good. I think it's kind of, this whole podcast for me is pretty humorous because we've been trying to do it for 2 years.
2
years.
2.
I think I was in third year of college when you first reached out.
Yeah.
So we did it. Finally, we're here. But I'm feeling good. I'm interested in, having a nice conversation about whatever you guys want to know.
But what's the latest going on? Like, what does the day look like, and what are you working on right now these days? Like, I want to know on the ground right now.
So just now, about 30 minutes ago, I just came back actually from work. And today, and actually all the time these days, we're working on a film, a featurette. I wouldn't say feature, a featurette, so like 55 minutes. So we work a lot with NGOs, a lot of social work, human rights stuff, and especially on child rights. So right now we're working with this NGO called Group Development Pakistan. They make courts for children. They train the police, judges, prosecutors, lawyers on how to interact with children. And actually they train judges in the Judicial Academy on the international laws that Pakistan is bound by for children. So they have a really cool approach where they hire a lot of young people to make films, web series, posters, all kinds of stuff like that for children.
Yeah.
So we're working on a little film. It's we're trying to touch upon child marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's coming out in March, and I'm working on the closing of a web series.
Right.
So that is it's called Phaatak.
Mm-hmm.
We're thinking early March, mid-March release.
Nice.
We have some very interesting cast members on board. We have Samad Aftab,
Nice.
who I think is incredible. I love that guy. I wrote the character for him.
Brilliant.
And he's amazing. We have some guest appearances in Nayyar Jaz. Our primary antagonist is Salim Miraj. I don't know if you know him.
Right.
He had an appearance in Lal Kabutar as well.
Okay.
Incredible actor.
Yeah.
Really good. So it's an OTT platform. It's launching soon. It's called Pikchur.tv. So it's going to be either extremely cheap or free in the beginning. So, watch it. Watch it.
Yeah.
And 5 episodes, 25 minutes. It's the first thing we've done not with an NGO, right? So it's the first thing where we've had a very big creative margin.
Yeah.
It talks a lot about, the different cultural contexts. It talks a lot about, basically it's a peek into like every little bit of Pakistani society.
I love that. And that's sounds like a lot. That sounds like a lot of work in a day to work on like 2 or 3 different projects, and also projects that touch on such a sensitive issue or things that really need to be talked about. I think like there's of course there's a lot of beauty in what you do, but a lot of value as well. I feel like that your pieces of work have added, and I think that's pretty commendable. Like, just from right out the bat, I want to say that's pretty awesome that you work with, these kind of things that people would normally not touch or think aren't marketable,
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say they're not marketable. I would agree that they're extremely difficult to market. It's true because let's face it, most people are going to see like, oh, is NGO Nikia? They're not interested. Okay. They're like, yeah, it's just some NGO stuff. That's why with this, we've tried to like tailor our approach. We did Be Gunah.
Yeah.
Same thing. It was on child justice and stuff. Courts for children. But Be Gunah, it was a good execution on our parts. We were students. We were really happy. and it was a really good approach to tackling this kind of stuff that hasn't been done, at least in Pakistan, I think, or not at least on that level or with that kind of quality, you know, strictly talking NGO stuff,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But we realized later it's very interesting, you know, but it doesn't fall anywhere specific. It's not for adults, but it's also not for children.
Yeah.
But it's also not for everyone,
Yeah.
you know. So this time we're trying to make a film which talks about all these things, but it's for children, you know. It's child friendly, and the idea is child participation, right? A big part of it is having children participate actively, or having young people participate actively in their own rights and future, right? Rather than some old people who are completely disconnected to make the decisions for you.
Yeah.
So I think it's very interesting. I think it's important, and let's see. You know, it's fulfilling. It is
Yeah.
fulfilling.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about your show, you mentioned something interesting. It's something that hasn't been done before much in Pakistan. You know, web series like this. So that was something that was really something that interested me, in the sense that a lot of people we see a lot of problems in Pakistani society, like all sorts of things, socially, culturally, everything's going on, and there are a lot of narratives or stories that can be told in those problems, you know, can be brought to light and everything. And people keep crying about the fact that Pakistani ड्रामों में, Pakistani फिल्मों में, मेन स्ट्रीम में वही सेम चीज़ें चल रही हैं. अभी वो शिजा फिजा वाली you know what I'm talking about, right?
I love that I get to be in the podcast where this was mentioned.
Shiza Fiza reference.
I am so removed from that whole space, but even I heard about the absolutely ridiculous Shiza
What
Fiza.
was that, by the way? What was Shiza?
Do you want
Fiza?
me to?
Yes,
so-
please.
so
actually,
I
no, I want him.
I will just give you a disclaimer.
Please,
I will just
please,
give you a disclaimer.
Please.
I'm a filmmaker. It's my primary profession. I'm not very connected with a lot of the stuff that's going on.
Right.
I know about Shiza Fiza, but just letting you know
I'm
for
just
future
the same
questions.
as you. I have
Yeah,
no
no,
idea
same
what's
here,
going
dude.
on, but I know Shiza Fiza. So
Okay.
and that's only because I'm on Twitter, and it just
I'm
popped
surprised
up.
you know about
It
Shiza
came on
Fiza. Like,
Twitter.
that
It
is
was-
incredible.
It blew
like.
up completely.
Okay,
So
yeah, that's
basically, I somehow watched the 1.5-minute clip जो है जिसके अंदर it all comes to, you know, fruition. And what happens is कि I don't know what the backstory is. There's a drama उसके अंदर for some reason दो भाइयों ने दो बहनों से शादी की होती है, as you do. Basically what happens is
As you do. he said.
and basically what happens is कि एक का नाम शिजा होता है, एक का नाम फिजा होता है.
As you do.
As you do. And so what happens is कि वो एक लड़का जो है वो बैठ के किसी एक से बात कर रहा होता है, और बीच में जब वो उस एक से बात कर रहा होता है तो वो उसका नाम लेता है, एंड शी इज लाइक मैं शिजा तो नहीं हूँ, मैं तो फिजा हूँ. एंड देन दैट गाय इज लाइक but we've done we're married now. We're married now, you know that.
Do they look the same?
Yeah, sort of, right? And then
But the memes show like they don't look anything like
what's
each other.
behind it though?
What's the confusion?
What's behind it though? Did the other two just decide to like?
No, so I don't know what happens, but
The backstory, give me the backstory,
funny चीज है वो ये है कि इनका existential crisis आ जाते हैं, ये लोग पागल हो जाते हैं, ठीक है, जो दो हैं, और वो दोनों आराम से रिलैक्स में अपने बेडरूम से निकलते हैं.
Boys easy है.
They're like enjoying
As you do.
As you do, yeah. As you do.
and then the end of that clip was basically the most outrageous thing, which is saying something because all of this is pretty outrageous.
No, it's pretty normal.
वो बंदी randomly कोई चीज पकड़ती है साइड से और अपने आप को काट देती है और गिर जाती है.
That's the
Whoa.
end. That's the end.
I mean, that's the end of the clip. I
What
did
the
not
hell?
I did not have the
Oh,
Dude,
I
that
didn't know
turned really
about-
dark, man. This
Oh
was
my
fun.
God.
Like a second ago, it's me. Thanks, dude.
it's like a
Could've
Tarantino
left
local
that-
Tarantino movie.
Yeah, actually, just like a local Tarantino movie.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't. So, you know what? It's funny you bring this up.
It is funny.
I heard about it, and it kind of pissed me off because right now, so in this show that we have coming out, Phaatak, we've touched upon the police a lot. All right. So I don't know if I'm supposed to be. I don't know if I should be saying this. I shouldn't.
No, I've talked about
The next thing
before.
I was gonna say something, but I'm not gonna say it.
Oh shit!
But
No, say it.
no.
We
I don't
miss
think-
you. No,
No. I just realized I don't want to like.
Smart.
I don't want to like.
Agitate the police.
Actually, I'm just gonna stop talking about this.
No, go on. Yeah.
No, but Partak, we touched a lot upon the police, and I'm very worried about it being banned.
The
Alright.
movie.
The show.
Yeah, sorry, the show. My bad.
Just because there's nothing like terrible in it. There's nothing bad in it.
Yeah.
But you never know these days.
Yes.
Things just get banned for like someone hugging.
Right.
And then on mainstream television you have Shiza and Fiza. Right?
It's like-
and it's like
Which is
Pakistani Game of Thrones.
like,
Or whatever you
come
want.
on, dude. Let's. Yeah.
so
kind
it's
of.
The closest we
it
can
is
get to
really
it.
frustrating. I mean you look at I don't know if I should be taking names, but a lot of stuff that's like almost come out and it gets banned, right?
Yeah.
There was
And-
one recent one that I
Yeah,
Zindagi
like Zindagi
Tamasha,
Tamasha
yeah,
recently.
but that's now coming
no
out,
apart
right?
from
It's-
that, yeah.
I'd like to point out that in that a prominent religious leader,
Yeah.
I'll say, said,
Yeah.
over my dead body.
And he passed away.
After, like, I think 4 days after he passed away, it
Oh, I
became
know,
the
I think
Oscar
we're
submission
talking
from Pakistan. So, I mean,
Damn.
he was right.
Life works in
He
mysterious
was
ways.
right.
He was
definitely,
right.
Yeah.
But, coming back to the topic, there's nothing, there's nothing blasphemous in it.
Yeah.
It's a story of a man, of a simple man, of an everyday Pakistani man.
But on that, like, as a person who's making this kind of like, like all of this,
Sorry about that.
this work, this art, as you're creating it, as you're sitting and thinking about it,
Mm-hmm.
is it ever a consideration that you leave something out because you're like, oh my god, this will get us some heat, as we say in the wrestling world? Like, is that an active thought that goes on? And if it is, then
Dude,
how unfortunate is that?
Absolutely. Like, I don't know. Once again, I don't know if I should be saying that, but absolutely, because we all know what the no-nos are, But there's a lot of things that aren't a direct no-no, but that can be related to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like right now, in the child marriage film, we're not going out and telling anyone child marriage is bad.
Yeah.
It's very indirect. We're just talking about children and how children should be taken care of. How should they should be allowed to live their complete life as a child, right? We're saying let the child live the complete life of a child, not don't marry your daughter at 15.
Yeah.
But that's maybe it's an unconscious decision at this point. But somewhere deep down we know that there's some things that can be difficult to say. There's a scene in something that I've made, I won't say yet to not make it a spoiler, but where the shoulder of a woman is slight bit exposed as she's laying in bed. I mean, that's it, right? That's it. But
Zalzala aa jana, bro, हम करीब.
Literally, I'm second guessing myself.
Shoulder.
It's a
You know,
shoulder.
it's
It's a shoulder.
This is
That's a shoulder. She's in bed. Yes, things are implied, but it's a shoulder.
It's just a shoulder.
I mean, a lot of things were implied with Shiza and Fiza. Let's be straight.
No, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like sometimes if you take a step back and think about it, really, if you just think about it, and you like, this is the dumbest shit. Like that, if that can get things in trouble, like
So-
a shoulder.
And
You know
I
what
mean, look at the stuff. Look at the misogynistic stuff that's coming out, man. I always forget the guy's name. That Khalil. dude.
Khalil or Rehman Kamar,
Oh my god.
I mean,
Adolf.
how is it okay? How is it okay to let him release things, but not okay to have someone tell the story of a simple man, right? An everyday story that everyone can relate to, by the way, I don't understand that, and it's extremely frustrating.
It's incredible that guy is actually a well-respected, renowned like figure in the industry, so to speak. People actually look up to him, they defend him.
And
People think,
and renowned people work for him
yeah,
also.
all the time. It's pretty common. Like I'm just shocked at how like far behind we really are. At face value, you can say things or do things, and every March suddenly everybody's like a supporter, and they're coming out and saying all these nice things. But really, like, it's sick to see like behind closed doors when people think they can get away with the whole association thing. Everybody's working with him.
I was like, what you said just made me think about something, and it's that at the same time, I don't mean to make this sad or like, oh, we're terrible or anything.
Please
but the
do.
people we uplift and the people who we give positions of influence and power are a reflection of who we are as a nation, right? So
Yeah.
when you think of it like that, is it really that surprising? It's not.
Yeah, and I think you can judge a society by the way that it doesn't allow the uncomfortable ideas to come ahead and be talked about. Because it's the same as if you look at it from a perspective. If you think of the whole nation as one person, for example, and when you look at how therapy is an uncomfortable experience where you're putting out your thoughts and then dealing with them, and that's a very important thing.
Mhm.
This nation needs to undergo like sort of therapy on a macro level.
Hashtag Pakistan needs therapy.
Yeah,
And the problem is that you've got these people who won't let the nation go to therapy because they're too afraid of how those uncomfortable conversations are going to,
yeah.
expose certain areas and
But
power
honestly, I
circles.
think you're still giving too much credit. People aren't thinking, oh, this uncomfortable conversation is going to be difficult for me. People aren't. You need to for that you need to recognize mental illness and then recognize you need therapy, and then you have to overcome taking that step to go get it. Right.
Yeah.
Right now, I think we're way behind. We're even way behind that. We're not even recognizing that certain things exist or are a problem. JPP. I'm going to talk about a lot of NGOs and development
Go
stuff.
for it.
But JPP, Justice Project Pakistan, I love those guys because what they do is they work on the death penalty. Now, the thing is, there are so many people in Pakistan who are not well mentally, right? There's so many people not well mentally who are not taken care of by the state. There's no facilities. And they end up putting themselves in positions where they're now on death row. So they're working on that. In prison, sometimes it's a little hard to tell, but there are blatantly unwell people who are being forced to go to court and to defend themselves when they do not have the facilities, and we're way behind, man. I think.
Yeah, and I think like there's no recognition of mental illnesses or just mental disorders being a real thing. If you think about it, even like culturally and socially, like when we like usko jinn chad gaya, literally like usko uspe kala jadoo ho. Like I've heard things about like people in my extended family when I was growing up as well. Like just a small example, I guess, that I've been told my entire life they've been possessed by Satan or something. You grow up, just find out, no, they just had a mental disorder that nobody could address properly, understand what they're going through. Like, and when you add like the legal system lacking all of that as well, and people really like, I don't think I could be wrong, is there state like regulated rehab or some kind of thing which
So the person we have sitting by the side, our extra guest, she's an architect.
Piano Reeves, the greatest Instagram handle on the planet, by the way.
That's the Instagram handle?
Piano Reeves.
Piano Reeves. Sir.
Another shout out. Check it out.
I remember when we used to go to like ACFest or like Olympiad or these kind of events. Like we would send people in the instrumental category. Like we had this guy who used to play the guitar or whatever, and we would like that guy. We had a guy who used to play like the sitar. Like cool people who just go in the instrumental category.
Yeah.
Nope. Ramisha Yazdani always won that shit with her piano every single time for years and years. Thanks for that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Know that.
Literally, like that name is engraved in my head because every time Auntie Sabine would ask us, "Did you win the instrumental?" No, Auntie Sabine, Ramisha Yazdani happened. Like we would just be like, "Ah, fuck it." So yeah, she's in the house, guys. Just wanted to say that.
Ramisha
Yeah,
Yazdani is in the house, and actually, her thesis was about making a space which caters to people with certain kinds of mental illnesses. So she went to research, and I was just helping out, and we saw what the state facility was like.
Yeah.
People will admit their family members and disappear forever. it's so backwards. So don't quote me on this. I don't know if it's true, but I think even our like syllabus, like our national like curriculum, is I think from the 80s or something
Yeah,
like that.
okay.
I don't quote me on it,
Sure.
but it's something like that.
It's pretty dated.
It's really dated.
Yeah. Let's say that.
It's not from the last 2 decades.
Gotcha.
You know,
Yeah,
at
of course.
least.
The floppy disk was
So,
the central part.
it's
of
a
it.
prison.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a prison. It doesn't look like anything other than a prison. So yeah, we're way behind.
Circling back
Yeah.
on all of that. In the question that I was thinking about is why do you think more like there aren't more web series or films about such things? Is it just because of the censorship issue, or do you think there's a lack of adoption in the mainstream as well, because these certain plots or these certain narratives get a lot of they get marketed and sold pretty easily, and everyone's just sort of.
So that's a very good question, because I have like 4 lines of answering. Let me just go through whatever comes to my mind first. I think one factor is that, first of all, generally it wasn't a market. You know, right now the web series like scene is like, you know, everything's becoming digital.
Yeah.
Corona's like sped that shit up like a lot. You know, so everything's becoming digital, and web series have started to really go off right now over here. So there's a lot of OTT platforms coming up. There's a lot of OTT platforms that have been around for a year or two that are starting to launch big projects. You know, we have some trailers coming out. And a lot of people are now looking to make web series because that's what the consumers want. You know, you open up it in your phone, you open it up on your laptop, you watch it real quick, you have a subscription for a year, you don't worry about it. The thing is now, what's interesting is that there's a lot of local platforms. So it's locally produced shows made by local people with hopefully relatable stories. Excuse me. So first of all, I think it's just the fact that it wasn't going on much. Big factor. Secondly, now again, this is an answer which is 2 answers. Yes, it's not very marketable always, but again, that's a very general statement. You know, it depends how you tailor it. You can make it fun. You know, there's so many ways you can do it. But I realized as you were telling me that the web series, the Parwaaz we did right now, it's very different. And I remember that I was actively thinking that, hey, I want to do things my way, but I was also always considering what I was bringing to market it as well, which is something I've never done before. I didn't let it hinder me, but I did, you know, I did keep it as a factor, you know, as something I was entertaining while I was working on it. So I think that has a big part to play as well, because, you know, a lot of people, especially local audiences, you know, they don't want anything slow, they don't want suspense, they want a lot of, you know, quick stuff, they want entertainment right now.
That's exactly what I wanted to follow up with. So the marketing aspect might be less about what you think is marketable as a creator. I just meant more in the sense what gets picked up, or even if it is marketable, let's hypothetically just say it is marketable, but these certain networks or these certain production houses or whatever think that, you know, certain kinds of narratives or certain kind of blockbuster things that always get, you know, made are the ones that people want to watch. So is that an element there as well? And if that's the case, then why do you think that is? Because obviously there's a lot of blockbuster stuff that comes out in Bollywood, but there's a lot of interesting, thought-provoking films that also come out there, right? And those are part of the mainstream.
Yeah.
Same for a lot of other cinema, like all around the world. You've got Iran, for example, is amazing cinema, right?
Of course.
And these films that are thought-provoking, that are, you know, stuff that's not blockbuster or not quick, but that's been acclaimed widely, not just in Iran but around the world, right? So why do you think are we different? What's
we're
going
just
on?
behind. We're not different, you know, like we're behind, and we're also like suffocated, right? Like what we were talking about, that when you have to think about what you're making, the limitations, the literal risks of making certain things, right? Those are the things that are going to slightly push the boundaries. Over here, pushing a boundary means you might get killed or your work might never come out, you know? So, you know, you gotta eat as well.
Yeah,
you know?
No, I get that. I get that completely. And yeah. No, you go. Rock paper scissors.
Like the moment we had made me forget. So so I'll just let you go until I remember.
No, I love that. And no, on the subject of like like you know, you say you want to eat. Like I want, because there's a lot of people who are gonna be watching this and they're told throughout their entire lives that there's like, if you go towards the arts, even like music, of course, is one big example, but being a director producer now, like having gone through film school, I'm assuming, like, yeah, of course, and then, you know, getting to start doing this, is there actually a path for people to follow? And once like, I don't know if you want to give your example or not, but generally, have you seen with people around you, like, is there work enough that you can make a living out of this, a career out of this? Like, should people reassured that they should try to be good at this stuff as opposed to choosing like economics or political science and, you know, wasting their life doing corporate jobs?
That's a really good question. I think, speaking locally and, you know, relatively to our reality, maybe if you'd asked me like a month ago, and this might still be my answer, but I would say now is a better time than ever in our lives and in the lives of the last couple of generations, maybe since the 60s even, you know. But as we speak, in the last, like, in the very short term, there's been some things coming up,
Yeah.
which I would say for learning and for getting work, it's better. It's a better time than ever, you know.
Okay.
There's web series coming up. The film industry is starting to come back, you know, cinemas are opening up and stuff. There's work, you know, there's work. And as a filmmaker over here, a lot of people, you know, you can work in a marketing firm, you can open your own production, you can work with a production. People work solo, you know, they have their teams.
Yeah.
So right now is a pretty good time. And, you know, it's the difference is it's a risk and it's not as easy, but it's not impossible. I wouldn't give myself as an example of, oh my God, huge success, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I work hard, but so do many other people. And, you know, essentially, I think it's not, if I were to compare with like music and a lot of other kinds of art forms, you know, I would say I would recommend it more.
Really?
Yeah.
Really, even with the recent music boom.
Okay, let's talk about that.
But every musician needs somebody to make their video, right?
Every musician needs somebody to make their video.
Yeah.
But not every video maker needs a musician. Right?
That's true.
And okay, we have this recent music boom, as you call it. You know, people we know are friends, and you know, it's awesome. I love it. You know, I'm a musician myself. I'm always following the local stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a handful of people.
Yeah.
Right? It's not that many people. We could probably name them right now, you know?
Yeah.
People are booming these days.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it's much tougher in music. I think there's a lot more that's left to chance,
right,
comparatively. Over here, you know, sometimes we do some corporate secret projects, you know.
Right.
No one has to know, and it's just interviews and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's always work like that. So you can always find a space.
That's
you
good.
can always work in marketing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you so the causes that you want to champion through your work, and you know, basically, I know you want to get a lot across from the things that you make, and everything that I've seen of yours always has a very deep rooted cause or motive behind it, right?
Yeah.
But as a medium, like, do you think, because a lot of people really do see a lot of like movies that come out which are championing a certain cause, or even, I'm sure you might have heard this about your work as well, like, this is good, but does it actually change anything? This is a tough question, right? Of course, and
I have a great answer.
I can't wait. But
answer.
yeah, so
Yeah,
go ahead. Do you think this actually changes things?
not to, like, you know, it's not to praise myself or anything. It's just a result that I'm gonna give to you guys. We always hear about certain very, very big organizations. You know, we have Amnesty International, one of the biggest human rights organizations. We have one is the World Association Against Torture. I think they're one of the top 3, 4, 5 like big human rights organizations in the world. They have a report that they do, you know, across all of Asia, and they pick the best examples of best practices and you know, best frameworks and everything. And in their national report, so these reports are used by organizations all over the world and all over Asia, to implement into their work. So this is like very big, on a very big scale. So Be Gunah was actually selected and mentioned in their national report as the best framework. Slugline Films was mentioned, GDP Pakistan, Group Development Pakistan was mentioned.
Sick.
And Be Gunah specifically as the best framework and best practice, as they call, for child's rights and for a medium of communication to get things across. So yeah, we were students, we were third years, and things can always get better. There's so many things we could have done better, but that's a result, and we can only build on that. We can only do better at this from there on.
No, but that's incredible. Like, so I mean, they've mentioned it in that report. I think that's awesome. But
Yeah.
when you like, is there any other way for you to get like feedback from people, like as to whether they like it or it's
Of course. I mean, a lot of it is
the
free to
comment
consume.
section?
a lot of it is free to consume, but I mean, a lot of NGOs use it as training. It's been screened at the Judiciary Academy in Peshawar, so as an example, and KPK has been like one of the leading people in child justice in the last few years, and they use it, just to kind of make them understand what they're going for, how they want to treat children. So it's, if someone can watch it, and especially a lot of this is being consumed more on an institutional level, which is something we hadn't expected before, So I think we did also a music video for the same NGO for same concept, just a music version. We did it with Misbaha actually.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. So same thing. That was in like, I don't remember where, but in like the United Nations Human Rights Commission or something. They played it. Same thing. So it's being used more like a framework or example all over the world for how people can implement it into their projects. So I think if more people use arts and like visual arts to get things across in a certain manner, I think that's a small, trickle down impact.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. It's more of a trickle down kind of thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to obviously talk about Be Gunah and the whole project. So firstly, I was really surprised to see that the federal ministry was involved, and that was a surprise to me from the outside, because we don't really associate our ministries doing that sort of thing. So what was that like? How did that project come about?
Well, I mean, it was reassuring, first of all. They were super helpful. They collaborated with us on a lot of other things after that as well, because again, how many ministries are taking part in this? Not even just in Pakistan, but all over the world, right? Is the Federal Ministry of Law and Justice endorsing an arts project, let's say, And I think that's really what we need. We have the Ministry of Human Rights who's starting to look in that direction as well. I think it's great because they're concerned with these things, right? It's the Federal Ministry of Law and Justice, the lawmaking policies, all of that stuff. So if they're championing, I would say, or endorsing projects like this, or collaborating with us on projects like this, that means that at least human rights wise, some people are going in the right direction, and the people who need to be going in the right direction, on a government level. It's a federal level, so it doesn't get better than that for an endorsement,
Yeah, for sure. And what was the process like of bringing that project to life, and where were you, like where did you come in, and how exactly did the ideation behind that, just basically the core concept of the entire project, like how did that come together?
So they knew what they wanted. They knew what they wanted. They wanted it to be a 3-episode series which shows before and after and why a child court makes a difference. So we had some writers with us, Iza Rathore and Elia Rathore. They wrote the script. It was overwhelming at first. We were students. We weren't even a production yet, This project is what kind of, pushed us in that direction. So we were like, can we pull it off? It's a bigger budget than we're used to. It's a full scale production, So as students, we hesitated, but we're like, how else to learn? And that's the thing that group development does. They take on a lot of young people and they give them that space to mess up, so they learn. So we learned a lot and we pulled it off. Again, not perfect, but it's made. It's brought result, the trickle down effect, all that stuff. So
that's kind of what pushed us in that direction. Okay, you know, we're doing this. Let's make Slugline. As for the process, it was great because like we had a lot of margin. They have very specific points and themes that they want to highlight. So as long as we're doing justice to that, you know, it was a very nice collaborative effort. You know, the feedback constantly. The British High Commission was a part of it. So same thing. They were extremely supportive. They haven't seen a project of that kind of nature either. So same thing. It's a thing for them now. You know, arts projects like this, which wasn't before. Now it's a thing they look for. They come back to the NGO. They're like, hey, you know, we want to do something else like that. We want to do a music video. We want to do a short film. So it was honestly a really nice process. It just went how any film process goes. You have the script, you approve it. They gave us some notes. We had Sarmad, who was our lead actor. Same thing.
I was just gonna ask, what was it like working with Sarmad Kusar?
You know, a lot of actors, when you're young and you're working with them, there's a barrier. It's an ageist barrier, I would say. It's I'm a senior, these are kids barrier. And getting through that or overcoming that kind of phase, it can be tricky, you know? Everyone responds differently. Sometimes you need to be a little more stern. Sometimes you need to ease into it, just wait, you know? Sometimes you need to let them see that you know what you're doing. It's always different. He didn't have that. He came there and he trusted us what we were doing. He appreciated and supported us as well, in fact. And it was a dream, you know? For me, it was my first time working with an actor, you know, a more renowned actor and everything. So I kept my cool, but at first I was like, "Damn, man, that's Sarmad." And but he made it so easy for me, you know.
Yeah.
So I was very grateful for that.
This project obviously involves a lot of social, cultural issues at play, and there must have been a lot of research, a lot of work that goes behind seeing how these things play out and then creating content accordingly. So I wanted to talk about those things specifically.
There's a very specific process actually. Whenever these kinds of like organizations work with people, there's a very, very like thorough like sensitization and awareness process. So, you know, we're first trained on how to interact with children, not only on a ethical and moral level, but on a legal level as well, you know? So, you know, the permissions, what the laws are, we need to know the law. You know, the UNCRC, the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. We need to know that law. So they vet the people, they train them not only in the work, but in the mindset they need to have while doing the work. And that just flows. And then as far as the technical and legal aspects, we try to keep that vague, and they always have a legal specialist who kind of tells us the terms and like, you know, the legal implications of what's going on. So that was actually, it's a good question. It was a very interesting way to go about it because it was a lot of law and like jargon and legal, you know, implications of the show. So we constantly had to check it and add terms that we had no idea what they meant, but you know, it was the right thing to say.
Yeah, and research content wise, more specifically, if we talk about that, you know, how there's one scene about child labor in the show, and the whole concept is relative, you know, is about child justice as a whole. So if we talk about these issues, and obviously you've done that through the show, but if we just talk about them generally here, how much do you think child labor is pervasive in our society, and how does it play out? I mean, you must have obviously researched about this.
It's everywhere, man. Like there's new systems being put up in place that are very good, you know. There's a lot of great organizations who are working on it, but it's just that they can't compete with the scale, you know. That's it. Every one of us has a friend, a good friend who's privileged, who हमारी तरह English में बातें करता है, ठीक है, and full burger boy होगा, and he has a kid working at their house. I said it and you thought of someone, I'm sure. I'm thinking of my friend. And I work on these things. I don't have a lot of friends. Oh, but you've seen it. But in your family, maybe even your own family, right?
No, it's out in the streets.
Yeah.
Like literally these pawn shops, and like this is stuff we grew up with without really realizing how wrong it is. Like in the show as well, I really like that like scene, mainly because I realized, oh, we can do something about it when the kid comes to clean her window. And I love that scene because right after she just calls and immediately I'm like, oh, I can do that next time I see that. And I think we all should like call Child Protective Services.
I do
here
it.
in Pakistan.
I'm always like snitching on people.
No, I love that. Yeah, about that.
Does it
like,
make a difference?
So you,
course, I hope.
they follow up with you. You know,
Oh,
they
that's
follow up.
awesome.
You call them up. But it's interesting you said that, because that's a very gray area for me. How I feel about that, because let's face it, that scene was spoon fed. Okay.
Yeah.
It's spoon fed. It's
Yeah.
straight up spoon fed. She goes to the car. She calls on a number. She's like, "Hey, is this?" I don't remember the exact
Yeah.
organization.
Yeah.
Is this place?
Yeah.
Um.
And then she says, "Yeah,
And
I'll
she's-
also call this place."
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but at the same time, that's what the show is for.
It's very necessary.
That's
Yeah.
what the show is for. So it's very difficult for me at times as well when I'm doing this kind of work to separate my, I'm making this film thing,
Yeah.
and hey, this is what I'm making it for. This is what it's for. You know,
Yeah.
it's not my funds. It's not. I'm not making it for myself.
Yeah.
I've been given a task, and it's my job to to make a product which caters to a certain audience or achieves a certain goal. So again, that was also I think it's good training as well, because I had to adapt my approach accordingly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think talking about your approach generally, or you getting into filmmaking in general, how did you get into films? I was really interested. How did you develop a passion for it?
It's a very, very strange journey. When I was 10, I started playing guitar. I played like flamenco and classical guitar and stuff. From guitar, I got into musical theater. From that, I got into theater. From that, I got into short films. I did a play called Siachin. It was like this play all over Pakistan about the army people.
Okay.
From that play, I acted in a film called Parwaaz Hai Junoon, which no one can ever find because they haven't put it up anywhere, and don't try to find me in it.
Dude,
It's extremely embarrassing.
I want to see this, please. Parwaaz Hai Junoon, got it.
You won't find it.
Umer Fasie, does that sound like a challenge to us? I think that sounds. He's like, "Are you Phaatak?"
But one thing at a time. I
How?
always transitioned, and
Yeah.
when I was in Parwaaz, I realized, okay, at this point, I'm not a musician anymore. I'm an actor, but now I'm looking at this massive set, traveling everywhere, the way films are made, and I'm like, my acting is so one dimensional, right? I want to fiddle with everything, and I applied to one place. I got in. I went. I studied, and that's why if people ask me like, oh, who are your inspirations? I'm much newer. I would say I'm much less seasoned, even in my knowledge. I would say,
Right.
because I joined late. I knew nothing. When I joined film school. Absolutely nothing.
And this was when?
This is 5 years ago.
Right. That's
Four
really
and a
interesting.
half years ago. I was way behind on all of my class, because all of them had made films.
Oh.
And I think that helped me a lot, because from the moment I went, I was like, I have to catch up,
Yeah.
But because I went through all those parts, I think that's one of my plus points personally, because it helps me have a little more of an understanding. I understand music a little more when I'm working with the sound designer or when the score is being made. My relationship with my actors is different because I've been an actor for a very long time, So I just try to pick from here and there and add it there. I didn't do it on purpose. It just kind of happened.
Yeah,
think that's
those
how
are
the-
the best journeys, I think.
I was going to say
Yeah.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Literally. And I think because you went step by step or stop by stop over so many different
I just did
art
detours.
forms.
Yeah.
I love that. I think that gives you a little bit of everything to kind of bring into this
Yeah.
craft that you're trying to perfect.
Man, it's
you know what I mean?
so like I think film is a culmination, right? It's light is painting and sound is music, and
Literally.
and then there's the camera work and just everything. You have design, you have the costumes, you have the makeup. There's every single kind of art form you can think of
Yeah.
is just a department or just one aspect of film,
Right.
And I think that's why it's like, for me, one of the ultimate, if not the ultimate art form.
Right. You mentioned you Be Gunah kind of just fell like just came to you as you were a student still, and then after Be Gunah you felt very motivated, I guess is the word,
Yeah.
to start Slugline.
We were like, we pulled it off, we did it.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah, looks great.
Yeah, it looks great. And, things could have been better, but they could have definitely been much worse.
Yeah. And the only way they get better is if you keep doing it.
And we had the team, 2 of my classmates, Zayan Agha, Shayar Ali, and our incredible cinematographer, Tasir Ali.
Of course.
There was the 4 of us. We were classmates as well. We kind of like led the project. We did it all together, and we're like, let's just keep this momentum. Then we got onto the music videos.
And wait, so what's this? How did Slugline come together? What's the story there? Like,
It was us 4 who did Be Gunah,
right.
And
you guys just said this is the team.
we're like,
You
Be
understood?
Gunah is coming out in a few months, and we like this. We like how this is going. We like how the work is going. Let's continue doing this. We made it. Slugline was a thing just between us for a while.
Right.
The Tasir had an old page which already had like 700 followers, like a secondary like photography page.
And it's called Slugline?
No, it was called something else.
You
And
changed it to
we
Slugline?
changed it to Slugline.
Genius.
And we're like, 700 free followers,
So 700 guys are like, what?
Exactly. When do we follow these guys?
Ye kaun hai?
And things I think right now we're in a very interesting place because we've all graduated, so we're full time into it. We're at the like closing and culmination of some very interesting projects, and I think the next few months and this year especially is going to be very like I think it's gonna be pivotal for us.
It's going to be
That's the word.
sluggish in a
It's
good
gonna
way.
be sluggish.
That's your new catchphrase.
Please no.
You're welcome. No.
I like it.
I think sluggish is a positive word, but it sounds kind of catchy.
It's a contextual
If
thing.
you have to think about it, then it's not really.
Yeah, that's not a great catchphrase. I agree. What was it like doing music videos? And what was the first one? What was the first one? I don't want to guess.
Dude, I actually don't remember. I think it was either Darya or
was
Fitoor.
Yeah.
So you
I think it was
produced the-
Fitoor first.
Fitoor. I
And then
produced
Darya.
Fitoor.
So
and
I have a very
produced Darya.
potentially stupid question or
Go for
a
it.
layman question.
Go for it.
It's definitely.
What's the difference? I know there's a difference, but what's the difference? But you see the film ka producer या film ka director.
Yeah,
I'm
actually, I wanna
aware
say
of what
the
a
same thing.
director is.
Yeah.
What does a film producer do?
Producer is like just all logistics. You hire, you fire, you find the location, you manage the money, who gets paid how much, where do we shoot, what equipment are we getting, you make the deal for the equipment, you provide the equipment, we need this many extras, all that stuff.
So the cinematographer, I'm sure, is also involved in the.
So there's
camera.
departments,
Yeah.
right? So you have like the art department is under the production designer. The production designer has an art director, he has a makeup guy, he has a makeup costumes person. He's going to be managing those people. The cinematographer, he works with the gaffer. The gaffer manages all the light crew. He has his assistant DP. He's constantly linked with the director, for what the visuals are going to be like. Then you have the producer is managing all of these departments,
Right.
the day-to-day, the running of the departments. And they culminate. So now it depends on how it is. A lot of the time in Pakistan, it culminates at the director. But when the format changes as you go over the world, it's a switching thing. Sometimes the producer hires the director, sometimes the director
Yeah.
hires the producer.
Right.
And is there? So what about the creative side of it? Is the producer also involved, or is he sort of,
So do you want like a local context answer or just a general kind of thing?
whichever?
Local
Yeah,
versus what you
yeah.
think how it
Yeah.
should be. Yeah.
Honestly, another thing is that generally as well, the way film works is a lot of the roles are like shifting. It's not always set in stone. The producer usually manages just logistics. But there's a lot of producers abroad who also manage creatives, who also are like, oh, this should happen in this scene, or it should be this actor for this thing. So it's not always consistent, you can't box it in. But in very, very, very basic theory, the creative is more like the director, the ADs, the cinematographer. That's more the creative side.
And do you prefer one over the other?
I hate managing money.
Same. Yeah.
I hate it so much.
That's all.
I have to do it a lot of the time anyway because
Yeah.
let's face it, I'm not in a I don't have any massive productions where like I have a massive team who can just take care of it. You have to micromanage a lot of the things.
Yeah.
I hate it. But I like production. I like the technical stuff. I think I need a little more experience on that side, but I think I can handle myself. I prefer the creative.
Of course, yeah. I just wanted you. I just want to hear you say.
Yeah, I prefer it. I prefer it. I want to know more, and I want to delve more on the technical side, but I think I know where my strengths are for now.
No, that's fair.
Yeah,
No,
go on.
You go.
Oh, so the reason why I asked this question about production and direction was because I actually love the Darya video, and I wanted to ask you about the creative side of it. So it looks, it has, so and this is a big, I think it's a big compliment in the sense that it looks like a Wes Anderson type of thing where you got different colors and shots all the time, like very vivid.
Credit goes to, so I'll say two things. First of all, credit goes to especially Zayan and Shehryar Ali, Zayan Agha and Shehryar Ali, because Shehryar did, the art direction, the production design. So, the way it looks. It's Zayan directed the video. I just did logistics. They just told me what they needed and I provided it, So I wasn't creatively involved, but the way the video looks and feels is literally what the process was like. It just translated. It was so wholesome. We had a lot of fun. Misbaha and Zara and Zayan, and all of us actually were a very big part of coming up with the ideas, looking for our references, all that stuff. So it was a very wholesome process, A to Z, and I think that really shows in the video.
The video is pretty wholesome.
Yes, wholesome and smooth. That's how I describe it. Was the creation process also just as like smooth and?
I would say, yeah.
And clean. Like, it's such a clean video. Like, there's no like parts where you go like, ugh. That shouldn't have been there. It's just so good.
We're not trying to, that video was not trying to like, it was just cute. We just want to have a nice time. Just want to look at it and smile. And that's, I think that is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a really wholesome video.
No, I get that. And what about Fitoor? What was that? I'm sure that was quite a contrasting experience. At least visually, it seemed like that. Was the creative?
Once again, Fitoor was Zayan's direction. That was really fun as well because we had Manu with us. We had Rizzy. All these guys were around. Siki was there.
Yan crew.
The Yan crew was there. Everyone was a part of the video, and we hadn't done anything like on the hip hop rap side yet, so it was different. And again, Zayan really did a really good job with adding a more like, I think, narrative driven and like a more like film aspect to it, So it was really fun. It was same thing. It was like we shot it in one night. We had a really good time. It was all the boys. We brought over 30-40 extras, and it was a pretty smooth process as well. Rizzy wanted that video on his birthday. By the way, you made it really difficult for us. He's like, "Meri birthday 4 November hai, theek hai. Same as Shah Rukh Khan. All right. I want that video to be out on my birthday."
Only Rizzy, man. Only Rizzy could do that.
He did it again this year, by the way. It's his thing. I don't know if you guys don't know this.
4th November free from.
You guys don't know this? It's not Shah Rukh Khan's birthday anymore. It's Rizzy's like fucking song drop.
It is his birthday and his song drop. It was his birthday the day he was born. Shah Rukh Khan. Move aside. Yeah. It's Rizzy Rozeo. Rozeo? I keep messing.
People are going to hate you.
That's okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. You've worked in a lot of music videos, right?
Yeah.
That's something that I've noticed. And is there something specific about music videos that you like in terms of, the creative side of it or?
Yeah. Like there's a lot of things you can get away with, first of all. Like, narrative driven films are difficult. Sometimes when we want to break, you want to do something fun and creative, you put a lot of yourself into it. You go a little more towards that side. Not always, sometimes you have narrative driven music videos, but like when Zayan and I were having a conversation recently where we're like, man, we've done like these fiction things back to back, like I'm drained, like I'm so drained creatively. But a music video is kind of reinvigorating, I love music, I listen to everything, So because I never became an exceptional musician, this is my contribution. you know what I mean?
That's great.
Yeah. And
that hits home.
Like I love music so much. It's so important to me. And just to work with a musician, come up with an idea, think of what the song is saying and bring that to people, I just think it's such an incredible process.
What's the process like exactly? So if Rizzy comes to you with a song and says ki ye Gunah, and then what happens? Like, can you walk us through that? How do you decide what the
That would be actually pretty difficult because it's so different. You know, you have like some musicians are actually, you know what? Every musician is anal. All right, all of you guys. If any of you who are watching this and being like, you know, I hope he doesn't mean me. I mean all of you.
Even you, especially you,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, by the way.
I mean,
hit
it's-
that subscribe.
it's a part of the process, of course, and it's fun. We look back on it always, but there's always been a moment of friction because musicians have made the song, right? They're bringing a visual to something that they've created, and to step away from that, I understand, but sometimes it's necessary. So it's very different. Some people will come up to us and they're like, you know, I want this, you know.
yeah.
And if we like what this is, and if we think we're going to enjoy doing it, we're like, let's do it. Other times it'll be like, hey, you know, that's not a bad idea. What if we did this? You know?
Yeah.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Some people, like, I love coming up with the ideas with Misbaha. Because, you know, we sit down together and we're like, what does the song feel like? What were you doing when you made the song? What do you want to say? You know? And then it's just a long conversation. We sit down in the studio and we just chit chat about how to get that mood across. We work a lot. I think with Misbaha, it's a lot more mood oriented. You know, the Gintaara video, Beware, that was a lot mood plus there was like a narrative going there underneath. Fitoor, same thing. Fitoor was less of a mood, more like visuals, narrative, performance. You know. So it's different. You can't say this is how you come up with the idea of a music video. And I think that's, again, another one of the fun parts of it.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. What is the part of, you know, your job or your jobs, because you do a bunch of stuff, what is the part that you hate the most? I know that's quite a
That's a fun question.
blanket question, but like, is there something in particular that irks you and you're like, I wish I didn't have to deal with this or that, you know?
Do I have to say one thing?
You can say bunch. Floor is yours, my friend.
I think managing money, I hate it. I swear, I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate putting a price tag on myself or on anyone else. You know,
Yeah.
I don't like it.
That sounded really weird when you said it. Then I was like, okay. I was like,
I mean,
yeah, sir, yeah.
Either way, I wouldn't be a fan.
Yeah, yeah. Money
But-
just sucks. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and you know,
I miss the barter days.
it's not great. It's
I do.
You know,
Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
Great.
We also barter, by the way.
Pokemon cards, dog.
We still barter, by the way.
Really?
Sometimes it's like, you know, I'll do this job for you. Make me this video.
I
So-
love that,
So that's
yeah.
a thing too.
That's good.
But you know, a lot of the time, like sometimes, you know, I know that I have this much to get someone to do this, and if I were that person, I'd want this much more than this much, you know. But I don't have a choice. I have to get someone in this much, and that's all I've got. And you know, there comes a point where, you know, it's fine. It's your first web series. It's your first project. This and that. There comes a point where you don't want to ask for favors anymore.
Yeah.
And also, that's one aspect. And then the other aspect is old people in the industry who've been there forever, whose work is absolutely terrible, who have no vision, right? And there's a lot of these people, like uncles, like uncles. And like the people in the the people in the marketing are friends with them. They've been doing this for so long. And they, when the moment they see that you're like less than 35 years old, they just think of every single way they can exploit you.
That's the magic number. 35.
It's just an
Arbitrary,
approximate number.
yeah.
It's just an
If
approximate
you're not
number.
a middle-aged freaking, you know what I mean?
If you don't look like one of them, they're gonna try to exploit you.
yeah, basically.
Receding hairline and the
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Hey, man, don't attack the receding hairline, all right? Jesus. Anyway, go on. Yeah, my bad.
No, but yeah, that's it. Like, I think these are the main things. The fact that a lot of people are trying to exploit you, and that sometimes it's just not that easy to get things done, but we have to take those opportunities because we're not getting them everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
You know?
That makes sense. No, I think you summed it up really beautifully. What was it? Middle-aged guys were terrible at it. That's basically just
And
the problem.
again, I'm not making a general
No,
statement.
it is the truth.
But it's just that there are so many people like that
Yeah.
out there, and you know, you look at let's look at like the marketing aspect of this thing. Let's look at like the commercial aspect of thing. You look at like European commercials or like the Super Bowl commercials,
Yeah.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah.
Right. It's a pleasure to watch the commercials. Some of them are really funny.
Yeah.
Why don't we have that?
यार this
It's
is a
not a
really
big
good
deal.
question.
It's
मैं
not a big
बचपन से
deal.
सोचता आ रहा हूँ हमारी ads इतनी shit
Can
क्यों
I
हैं?
answer that?
Yeah.
I try to answer that because it's just
Sure,
a matter
please.
of taking risk. That's it. In my opinion, like people want to go with the safe, effective methods of communicating things that have already been working
Why
for
are they
eons
effective
already.
though? They're so shit.
No, in fact, no. You'd be the thing is, it's a paradox. They say कि अवाम यही देखना चाहती है, but अवाम को मिलता ही यही है, तो obviously वही देखना चाहेगी, and nobody wants to take the risk to kind of flip it up. If you look at the Super Bowl commercials in specific, they're always such a risk. Like the shit that they do. The
Yeah.
one with that guy who does the pop art. What's his name? Where he was eating a burger. Remember that?
No.
It was just an ad of guy, I forget his name. He's a very famous pop artist, you know, like this shit.
Okay.
Like, and it was just Andy Warhol. Thank you,
okay,
Piano.
okay, okay.
But Andy Warhol was just sitting there eating a burger. That was the ad. And it's just like boom, like Carl's Jr. whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and people were just talking about that ad the next day. People here aren't just ready to take a risk because they're just afraid of being replaced by the
Dude,
next
come
guy.
on, it doesn't have to be that much of a risk. You know, I think the closest we got was the golden U phone ads.
Oh
ever,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And I'm not saying we were there, but we were closer. Why were they great? Because it was funny.
Yeah.
Everyone
Or
liked them.
it was.
yeah?
It's lame when you look
Yeah.
back at it, but back then we would laugh.
It
Right?
was hilarious. Yeah.
Right? Faisal Qureshi had hilarious delivery.
Goat. Yeah.
It's the closest
It broke
we got.
the norms, right? It was
And
over the top
this
comedy
was
in like,
early 2000s, right? Early
mid
2000s,
2000s,
mid 2000s. We're talking about it right now
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
nothing else came since.
Yeah, literally. And
know?
from the early 2000s to 2022, we've gone from Uphone commercials to Shiza and Fiza, man.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, we've gone backwards.
Yeah,
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We actually have gone backwards because you mentioned the 60s, right? And you said that this is probably the best time
I
to
mean,
get into it.
again, like if there's any like super incredible like film buffs who are like gonna judge me, I like this is an approximate thing that I've been told in college that 60s was the golden age.
Yeah, yeah.
There's been no golden age since. This is the best we've got in a long time.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
But there are actually some dramas that have come out in I think the 80s and the 90s in Pakistan. So like Dhoop Kinare and then Alpha Bravo Charlie.
Yeah.
And these were there at the time. They didn't so they weren't controversial, but they were thought-provoking and really interesting, and people still have a nostalgic feeling about them. Ki yaar, those were great. And we have sort of regressed, and we don't have that sort of thing coming out anymore. And that was something that was getting
I think
towards
there's a lot
earlier.
of like nuances to this. First of all, it's the military in Pakistan, right? First of all,
Zindabad.
so yeah, and it's loved.
I ain't saying
I love-
shit.
I
I
would
would
love
picked
I'm
up
not
by
saying
Black
anything,
Eagle.
no. I'm not saying anything bad about it. Like
Pakistan
I've watched Alpha Bravo Charlie. I've
Yeah.
worked with ISPR. I've worked with the Air Force.
Yeah.
But we all know that it's the level of patriotism, the level of love for the military. That's a factor. Secondly, I don't know actually. I'll ask you a question. Do you? I don't know the answer to this. How well do you think Alpha Bravo Charlie would have done if it came out today?
Not very well, because
Just as
people
good,
would have
better?
said that it's a
Wait, but is it the
IS
exact same show? Or
Yeah.
like maybe like
Maybe
newer-
they have a better camera, but like otherwise everything else is the exact same anyway.
No, so see, I have something to add to that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about ISPR narratives, right? That we're talking about. So
Are we gonna talk
Bro.
about
I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere that
Ladies
will
and
have a
gentlemen,
black-
thank you for tuning in. to
Hey,
our-
bhai, black
I've worked
ego
with
aati
them. They probably know everything I'm doing.
No, they know that anyway. I'm just saying कि let's suppose कि उस time पे ISPR media was Alpha Bravo Charlie, right?
Yeah.
Now it's the guy जो what was the latest? I'm so out of touch. There was this drama about the guy who joins the army, and everyone watched it, and it was so bad because like he was doing ridiculous shit. He was like, my cousin told me about a scene because he's in the army. He's like, यार ये क्या हो रहा है? And he's like, then no one's going to say it. No one's going to say anything.
No, we're
Okay,
not
go
saying
ahead.
anything.
Yeah, no, I know.
So
I'm
a
just
scene-
clocking out of this conversation. I'm gonna make like
उस
faces.
सीन में क्या होता है? My cousin told me कि firing range पे वो जो main lead actor है, there's this soldier who's terrified of like firing the gun or something, और वो क्या करता है कि वो ये target है ना, उसके साथ जाके खड़ा हो जाता है, और वो कहता है कि तू सब outrageous shit.
I think it's just, and this is something I think it's not fair to make that like an ISPR thing because that's just
Yeah.
That's just
No, I'm
Drama.
Not, I'm just
And
saying,
Imran Khan totally won the election.
No, no,
by the way. I just want to say that right now.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
go on.
it's even stuff related to the army. My main point was even stuff related to the army. Its quality is changed. If you get what I mean,
I
Alpha Bravo
don't know.
Charlie and this thing has.
the quality is much better, I think.
No, dude, the ISPR is actually.
Wait, no. What are you saying when you say quality? Like you were talking about
Storytelling and everything that's going on, the characters, all of that
No,
stuff.
so that's what I'm saying, right? I feel like those were like a few standout things that people loved and enjoyed, but like the general trend has been the same. You know, the general trend has been the same. ISPR has much better production value than a lot of the other stuff, but the general trend of the content is the same. We have a few shows coming out these days that are a little bit different, and they're starting to pick up. You know, where they're talking about things that are a little more.
Midsummer Chaos, yeah.
I think you meant Parizad and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I'm
man,
kidding, I'm kidding, I'm
man,
kidding.
Midsummer Chaos was
No,
successful.
no,
You
no, no.
watched it, and I watched
We
it.
had Ahmed Sarim on.
We
as
had
well.
him on the
We had
podcast.
him on the
We had a
podcast.
great time. He's a great guy.
What?
Like, yeah, he explained it.
What? I want to know what your conversation was like.
Are you gonna ask me what his defense was? No, listen. It was simple. He did the thing. They did it with one camera, very limited resources. They had short amount of time.
It was totally like off the.
It was ad hoc.
Yeah, it was not a planned production
Yeah.
or anything of the sort. It was
They
just,
had one day to shoot some scenes and then others to shoot the
they just did it
others.
for fun and they blew up.
Dude, they didn't buy 2 cakes. You know what I mean? There's no thing where they already had the cake cut before the. You know what I mean?
Spend
Like,
on cake.
so my point being, like,
The first shot, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I know it's the
It-
first
it-
shot. You know what I'm saying? That's a
it
success.
irks me.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
the thing, but the thing is, like,
No such thing as bad press.
and it worked. The thing is, like, it's now kind of creating a trend for these kind of shows, if nothing else.
But he's
And-
smart because he saw that, like I was saying, digital is the next thing, web
Exactly.
series is the next thing, and he jumped on that with
Yeah.
whatever he could do.
And the
like,
thing
I
is-
respect that.
Yeah, and he put his heart and soul into it. It worked. That's the important thing. It worked. And even the same thing with the ISPR, which I love, by the way. I love you
Who
guys.
doesn't love ISPR?
Great job with
Great
everything, governance, all that. Okay,
Governance?
But I mean, like, of the military. The thing is, like, with the ISPR.
You're gonna have to think about this part.
No. Listen,
Governance,
I
you're not
love
allowed to
them.
say.
Like, there's a trophy that I have with their logo on it. They sponsor MMA events.
Hey man,
sometimes.
He's just straight
they're
up
the
lying
reason
now.
I know. I found out I wanted to be a filmmaker.
Yeah, exactly.
As random as that is.
And like my love for my undying love for the ISPR.
Where is this
aside,
going?
Hold
Yeah.
on, I just want to say them, Ahmed Sarim, and whoever else who's making art or wanting to contribute to it or wants to be involved with it, as delusional or diluted or whatever as it may be. Just let them do it, man. Like, this is how we're really gonna grow. We're gonna get to see phenomena and things that pop up.
But here's the thing,
And
man.
it just
Here's
adds.
the thing that works both ways. That works for I forgot his name again, the Khalil Rehmans as well.
Oh no!
And
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what they're
yeah.
doing, though.
Yeah. No, he's eaten enough. You know what I mean? Like, get him out of there.
Yeah.
He's a problem. Of course, it's not a
No,
blanket
but,
statement.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's
if you're okay, let's say
if
this.
you're gonna say everyone who wants to make something has a right to and should be able to, then that includes him. And
Exactly.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Unfortunately, but maybe we can say if you're not a douchebag, you should be able to make. You know, and he kind of falls in that. And the ISPR, of course, doesn't, and Ahmed Sarim also doesn't. So you know what I mean? It makes sense.
Yeah, coming back to what you
I
were
love
saying,
the ISPR, by the way. Yeah,
you know,
just-
even like let's talk about the Anwar Maqsood times, right?
Yeah.
Like he made some really
Yeah.
good stuff. You
Yes.
know, he still does. You know, the plays. A lot of his stuff is being readapted into plays. I do think there was like a little part in between, but you can't say it was a growing or blooming industry. You can't say stuff was popping. You know,
For sure. Yeah.
because Alpha Bravo Charlie came out. What else do you know from that time?
Dhoop Kinare.
Bus.
And then there was
Half
Anacolagin.
plate.
And I got no. What that was one with the.
Anacolagin.
Anacolagin, and there was college jeans. There was I remember
Go
these
look
from
at
my
college
childhood.
jeans again, bro.
I think
Go look at college jeans again.
stuff that I'm going off on. But
I've done it. I've done it.
You have? Is it
I went to see it again, and I was like,
not good?
I was like,
but
yeah.
Dhoop Kinare is something I watched back because it was before I was even born. I think it came out before that, and
I
it's
haven't
like
seen it.
really good television
I haven't seen it. I've seen Alpha
Yeah.
Bravo Charlie because I was Siachen was literally
because we
was
love
Siachen.
ISPR obviously.
And
Yeah.
and no, but interesting enough. So for Siachen, this was very interesting. We as a whole group, we went and lived on post in an igloo with the army.
in Siachen,
Cool.
at like in like minus 35
Wow.
degrees, 16,000 feet. Our director was like, "You guys are gonna do like method acting. Go watch Alpha Bravo Charlie and go live with them." And it was so cool because I got to live the life of the army guy and just dip. You know, I did everything and I dipped. You know, I'm
When the
like,
fighting
it's
starts,
been nice.
alright,
You know,
yeah.
I spent
See
2
you.
incredible weeks over here in this igloo, and you know, have a nice.
See ya.
Yeah.
The shit hits the fan. I'm bouncing.
Good luck, guys.
Yeah. And talking about shit hits the fan, you know, that's one of the things we talked about in the play. It's nothing hits the fan. It's just ice and protocols, and that's the whole controversy. You know,
Yeah.
that all these guys are out. You know, I have respect for those guys, because at first I was like, you know, it's just another post, just another war zone. That's what it is. These guys are there for 8 months at a time. Their skin burns and their hair falls out, and just, you know, to experience that, I think that's the privilege of being an actor. You know,
Yeah.
things like that.
Damn. Method acting, I guess.
You get to experience it and dip, like I said.
Yeah, you live it, you go through it, you believe it, you are it, and then after a
then-
point, you know.
Yeah, you're done.
Damn. I wish they could do the, like, maybe we could swap you with someone with the army and they get to direct a film for 2 weeks and then they
How
dip.
cool would that be? You know, there's some artists out there, dude. Hashim Nawaz,
Yeah.
the rapper,
Yeah.
is a
Pindiya,
captain.
Pindiya,
He's a captain.
Ye Pindiya wala?
He's a
He's
serving.
one of the-
He's a
Yeah.
serving army officer. Yes, how awesome is that?
Wow.
He's a serving.
That's
army
hard.
officer.
That's some hard shit right there, bro.
That's why if you listen to his
Gotta
stuff,
get him on the pod.
if you listen to his stuff, he has a lot of really like subtle references about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, sequence, one of our cameras died. If you notice,
It's chill, buddy.
and we are well above.
I'm
the
sorry
time.
if I talk too
no,
much,
no, no.
guys.
I
We
didn't
didn't
want to
even
stop it
realize it.
because I fucking loved this conversation. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun for me too.
And I feel like we can go on for another good 2-3
I
hours.
think I don't know if I said some things I shouldn't have.
No, you
No,
did.
we all kept it off with
You were
some ISPR love. So
Very careful, and we love the ISPR, and we have nothing to worry about, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's think about removing that.
Censorship.
No, it's fine. I'm sure. Like, come on, it's us. Like, relax. What?
Yeah,
what?
man.
Oh, people are gonna say, like, oh my god.
I'm literally the cute character. That's in the film. That's my role. My role
Yeah.
is it's not a deep role.
This guy though, you gotta check his Twitter, by the way.
Dude, I don't.
do not check. I will just go and delete
I do
some
not.
shit.
I do not bring anything
I
more than being a shaved
gonna tweet,
Gora
I love
face to that
ISPR.
film. So you know.
No, we're all good with the ISPR. But Sikander, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for having me.
No, I definitely want to have you back again. And we
Yeah.
didn't even get to talk fights for even a second. Like, think about that.
Dude, I'm telling this guy, I can do it. I want to be your assistant commentator.
Oh my
It's on camera.
I'm serious.
Bro, you know what?
I'm gonna kill it.
I want you to come and watch some fight. We wake up. I
Let's
don't know
do
if you
it.
do this. We wake up in the morning, like 7,
Yeah.
or 6 or 5.
Okay.
Prelims good. We watch the prelims.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
watch
yeah.
the UFC cards live Sunday morning. So
Okay.
me, Umer, Salman, and Ismail
I'm
there
down.
sometimes. Just in here, just the TV up, and we just. So please, you know
I'm
what I mean?
down. We get
It's-
sluggish.
Oh, I like that. And on that note, I think.
Oh, then I think it's time.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, we have the guest segment
Yes.
left. Thank you so much,
Oh.
Professor, for giving me those eyes. The
Very
last segment of the podcast,
Absolutely.
where the guest of the podcast, the main subject, the most important person in the room right now,
Yeah.
you get to take the floor and tell us anything that you want to tell us. Get anything off your chest. If there's somebody who owes you money, if you owe somebody
He
money,
hates talking money.
all right, sorry.
I hate talking
or
money.
favors. I don't. Whatever. It just the floor is yours. Take it away, please. Tell the ether
Oh my God,
what's
you
on
really-
your mind.
You are really putting me on the spot.
I know.
That is the
love
point,
doing that.
actually.
They didn't warn me either.
Most
I coulda-
people blank out.
I could have spent the
Bro,
last hour
Iqbal
thinking about it.
Rapped, so you know. you
Ball
can-
draft? I
Yes.
didn't do. I
It's
yeah,
it's
of
on
course
our
he did.
channel.
I
man.
don't rap.
Sorry,
I don't
go
rap.
ahead, yeah.
I rap alone in my car. I mean, in conclusion, you know, it's a good time. If you've always wanted to do film, don't just shy away. It's extremely difficult and it's a nightmare, but it's very fulfilling. And I don't know, man. Just don't be an a-hole. You know, be a nice guy. Be nice to people around you. That's it.
And fuck Khalil, look it up. Come on. That motherfucker.
Yeah,
you
we don't
always
even remember his
Khalil
name.
or Rehman,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah, yeah.
I will never ever need something from you, so fuck you.
Fuck
And
that guy.
thank you so much for coming
and
on.
everyone related to him.
sickest podcast to date. This was Sick Vince, and please leave a like, a subscribe, a comment, all of that good stuff that you always do. Show some love. Don't be a prick. And yeah, just from me to you, the three words I always say at the end of the podcast, and that's keep it tight.
Take it easy.
See you soon.